Hi and welcome to this sightseeing tour of Kaunas in Lithuania. Specially requested, so I'm doing this in a little Cessna 172. Let's get the engine started. So we're sitting on the apron at the moment. First of all, what they call a cold and dark start, so we'll get the engines and electronics lit up, and we'll take a little tour of Kaunas. It's only going to take about 25 minutes, if that. We'll head out towards the east, no, west, I believe, and then head down south towards the city of or town of Kaunas, and then follow it round, loop back round up, and land. At the end, there will be a selection of the landing um, from different camera angles. Uh, People tend to like that. So let's release those parking brakes and get going, I would imagine. I think there's a little plane about to just go past us at the moment, so just holding back a little bit at the moment. Let's get going. We'll taxi out to the end of the runway 26, and follow a heading of 260 degrees until we get up in above 1,000 feet, and then we'll start heading down towards Kaunas itself. I know this is from a replay, so I know what's coming. Um, we've got an MD-80 on approach from the west, so when we get to the end of the runway, we're going to have to hold short and wait for the plane to land. So just enjoy the taxiway and the ride. It's a nice day, nice and warm. A little bit of a crosswind when we come into land, so that was a nice little challenge. But we do actually get down. There's a little spoiler for you. As I say, this was requested by someone from a previous video. So again, if you like something or you want me to fly anywhere, do a route, fly over a famous landmark or anything like that, drop a comment below and I'll see what I can do. I can't guarantee how detailed an area is, because the detail in X-Plane is quite good, as you can see, but the default in certain areas lacks a little bit. This is not too bad at the moment. It's quite good. Cities and big landmarks tend to be well rendered. So again, we're going to wait for this MD-80. It's on approach at the moment. As you can see, this the just to the left of us. So enjoy the scenery at the moment while we wait for this one to come in. This is the plane that we're flying in today, little Cessna 172 SP. The SP is because it's got the Garmin 1000 instrument panels. It's, the more up-to-date ones. But I've got a virtual cockpit that I've got on my desk, so I've got all of the panels in front of me on my desk, so hence the reason why I can actually fly without the panels shown, so that we can view the scenery, you know, while we're flying around, and I can actually see what's what, see where we're going, see what altitude we're at, see how we're banking. Yeah, a little bit noisy around here today, I'm afraid. I hope that doesn't come over too much. Try and edit that out later. I think I actually decide in a minute that I can get to the end of the runway, because the incoming plane should have plenty of space to land and get off the runway before because this is likely to be where he wants to exit the runway, so I'm just going to roll forward and go to the end of the runway. Against FAA regulations, I suppose. But hey, this is a simulation, and didn't want to really bore everyone just sitting at the end of the runway waiting. So let's get going. If this other plane wasn't coming in, I probably would have had chance. I don't. In this little plane, you don't need the whole runway to take off. It can actually take off quite quickly. The takeoff speed is only around about 55 knots, so you can get airborne quite quickly. Okay, let's turn around. In fact, the plane is no longer invisible, so we'll line up. I've already set flaps. Let's hit the gas and go. As I said, we're heading 260. We're going to continue on the 260 mark until we get clear of the runway and get positive altitude, and then we'll start doing turns. There we go. As you can see, we're already airborne, and we'll start getting so we're at 400 coming up to 500 feet. 500 feet. The gear on this aircraft is not retractable, so I'm going to start doing some turns now away from the airport and start heading out towards Kaunas itself. I'll ditch this little map in a minute because I've actually got an iPad next to me that shows me exactly where I am on a map, so I can see exactly which route I'm going. There we go. Move that out the way. And what I'll do is I'll ditch the cockpit, and we can start seeing the actual area of Kaunas. So this is for the user that actually wanted it. Hopefully he tells me that this is the area that he grew up in and come from. So hopefully he can recognise some of the areas. The whole flight here is only 35 minutes, but that includes the replay of the landing, about 3 or 4 different shots of the landing from various camera angles. Can be quite interesting. But this is the area of Kaunas and around the airport. There's the airport in the background that we've left. I'm not editing anything out. That bar at the bottom of the screen, that's actually my enhanced camera control panel. It's a lot of presets like this flyby. You can just click on it and it will just do a preset flyby, and various angles around the aircraft for various shots. If I had a second monitor, I would be able to push that to one side onto a second monitor and not be able, and that then wouldn't need to show on the bottom of the screen. So that's something for the future. But in the meantime, it's just something, as I say, I use this add-on to get some of these extra shots that we've got. As you can see, there's moving vehicles down on the main road below. So the graphics, as I say, are not too bad around this area. So we're heading now down over Kaunas itself, and then we'll head round to the left and head back up and do a complete loop round and come and land on the same runway that we actually departed from. I'm still having to do this as a voiceover, so replaying the video while I'm having a chat and updating you. This is a problem with or seems to be a problem with the NVIDIA experience. Even though I say use the microphone, it just doesn't seem to want to record the sound, the voice. So I have to play this back in the editing software and do it as a voiceover. I've downloaded another recording software that I'm going to attempt on my next video. So this is another airport that's around Kaunas. It's not the main international airport, although it's a small international airport that we took off from. This is another small regional airport that they've got. My friends will probably be able to tell me, but I'll probably be able to look it up on the charts. So this is one of those standard recordings from the cameras, just called an orbit. It's quite interesting, quite good, nice and smooth. So as you can see, we're starting to bank to the left and start going round, heading east, and then we'll head up towards the north. And then line up on the runway to land. So my next flight that I've been requested to do is a EasyJet 737 from Luton to Faro in Portugal. I'm setting that up for maybe next weekend because it is nearly a 3-hour flight, and this program does it in semi-real time. You can do it fast. I edit out all the boring bits, flying at 37,000 feet, where you can't see anything. So, but I still have to fly it. So this is the countryside. It's quite good, as I say. You can actually see on the ground below the shadow from the aircraft. The attention to detail is really superb in this program. At the moment, this is X-Plane 11. This is the vanilla install, so I'm not using Vulkan and the beta. I tried it, got into all sorts of trouble, so not a great fan of beta software. It's great if you want to tinker and you want to start giving feedback and get a preview of what is to come. And yes, it does increase, improve frame rate, but I've got a semi-decent system, so I'm getting reasonable frame rate at the moment. I think I'm getting about in excess of 40 frames a second with this current setup, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I'll wait for it to become stable and become the full release before I move to it. So yeah, this is just the vanilla, 11.41, and it's quite good. I have enhanced this area a little bit with ortho tiles, so that's probably why it does look a little bit better. But they tend to be massive. Take up a lot of space depending on how high a detail you use. But anyone who's interested, I use the Cytec equipment on my desk. I've got the Cytec ProFlight yoke and pedals with the quadrant. I've also got a second quadrant for when I'm flying the big jets. I've also got the multi-panel, the radio panel, and the multi-switch. And I've also got two flight instrument panels. So I'm about to get a couple more. This is why I can see all of the flight details that I've got. The key ones like height, rate of climb and descent, and speed. I've got those on the two instrument panels at the moment, so I can always tell exactly what speed I'm flying and what height I'm flying and whether I'm climbing, descending, banking. So it's really handy that you don't have to have the flight instrument panel in front of you. I do tend to have it when I'm landing because you get that better view of the approach to the runway from the actual pilot seat, so I will be switching back to the cockpit panel view before I land, but I can then, as I say, replay the landing a couple of times from various camera angles, so that you see the actual landing. Quite a smooth landing this time, although I did have to correct it a little bit because I did get blown off a little bit to the left, but I managed to get it back on and centre line it, so I was quite pleased. Now, this is one of the main highways out of Kaunas. And our airport is going to be up and to the left of us for when we come into land. We'll be turning very shortly. Oh, there we are, we're turning now towards it. I'm still learning this. I used to do flight simulation years and years ago, but that was on Flight Sim 90, sort of 2000, something like that, Microsoft, and I didn't have the equipment, I didn't have a powerful machine, and that's why I gave it in, because I was in a position where I couldn't really justify and afford the expenses to keep it up to date, and Microsoft did actually sort of stop supporting it for a while, although I know Microsoft 2020 or Flight Sim 2020 is about to come out at some stage, and I might give that a go and have a look, but decided to get back into it, got myself a nice powerful PC and decided to get the Sci-Tech hardware as well. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but getting back in, still learning how to handle Flight Sim itself, but I've still got a lot of background in Flight Sim and understanding the general background, general dynamics of it and how to use it. So, and of course I'm learning how to use this video editing software. It's quite interesting trying to think of something to say when you're playing it back and doing the voiceover. Okay, so we're now making that turn towards the airport. There it is over in front of us, we're just turning onto it. I've overshot it just a little bit, so I've got to come back and then line up on it. Didn't notice that when I was doing the recording. Railway and train going past. As I say, they've thought of a lot of things, and the extra dynamics with the moving scenery is very good. So I've lowered the flaps now. We're going to slow this right down. And I should be going into the there we go, going into the cockpit view so that I can line it up on the runway. And we just have to do a little bit of a correction as we, get pushed across to the left a little bit too much. There we go. But I'm using yaw, which is the rudder pedals, to correct the line up, so that I don't do any violent banking with the yoke. So we're coming into land, nice and steady. onto the center line, bring it straight and down. There we go, nice and steady, right on the threshold. And that's it, we're landed. So now it's that long taxi back to the apron, and then I'll put some the replays on. It's about actually takes nearly 2 minutes to get back to the apron. In fact, actually, it takes over 2 minutes to get to the apron by the looks of it. Because this is a long taxiway. And I say, considering this is classed as an international airport, it's not massive and hasn't actually got gates as such. You know, you've got stands that you can park at, and you know, they can come out with a set of steps to get on an international airport plane. I did the previous video to this was I bought a 737 Ryanair from Luton to here. So I've already been and landed a 737 here, you know, big jet, you know, one of the bigger jets. So yeah, we are nearly at the end of this little flight. I'll go and park it up, switch it off, and you can enjoy the landing replays. That's one of them MD-80s. Okay, we're nearly there now. So don't forget, if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe. Why not leave a comment if you want me to go somewhere interesting? I'll see what I can do. Until the next time, enjoy these replays of the landing.